Hello and welcome to episode 33 of our Timberborn Update 6 Wonders of Water playthrough here with the Iron Teeth faction in Cycle 54, Day 2. Last time we optimized a whole bunch of different stuff, a whole bunch of different things, whatever the correct verbiage is for that. And today we're going to have to continue along that path while also fixing some problems you guys identified in the comments and slowly working on the Earth Repopulator, which is, I guess we can call this a little bit less than halfway supplied in terms of actual pieces of materials. And, well, you can also just look at the 35%, but that's just how much they've actually built. This is not going to be quite the same number. We also have a little bit more to do in terms of planting trees and getting other things reorganized. I believe all of our blasting is finished, pretty much. So, first thing we can go ahead and do is put our efficient mine back on the actual efficient recipe, which uses the dynamite. And that also means we can turn the smelters back on. And that's looking good. Taking a look at my notes here from what you guys mentioned in the comments. This one piece of path, I guess a number of you have been telling me forever to fix it, and I just didn't. So that's fixed. Oh boy, so that's fun. That's good to have that taken care of. And there's a whole bunch of other just like little optimization things, and I did mention that I wanted to see what we're going to do with the rest of this land here. Now that we have moved our berries upstairs, as it were, we do still have plenty over here to keep pulling out of the ground, so on and so forth, and replanting with other stuff. So just taking a look at all of our different crops here. I'm going to put this in triple speed. We're not really hurting for eggplants. What we are hurting for is corn. We only have 25, and we don't have any... Well, food is actually not looking very good at all. So what I'm going to go ahead and... Not canola. I'm going to actually have this whole area, once these are all removed, turned into corn growing. Soybeans we could use a little bit more too. I'm hopeful that this bit here will be enough. And then cassavas may need to have some additional stuff planted down here. But this is all stuff that will come in time. Just got to do what we can do. Go ahead and put in our soybeans here and then our cassavas here. So that's going to be a nice little boost. Again, this lags behind considerably because it does take up to 12 days to grow food. We didn't plant the eggplants, but we did plant corn, and we're not going to see the benefit of that until, I don't know, probably the next drought or bad tide the way this is going. So, again, it's just one of those things. But everything else is looking really, really good. This small warehouse can go away, and we can start thinking about other ways we can fill space. I know we talked last episode about removing these advanced breeding pods and then putting in some of our rooftop terraces in various spots that might make sense. But the way that the frog statues are set up, we're not really in a good position to do that. So, gonna have to figure out a way to effectively utilize our space here. It might not include too much more of that. But what we do have is we have a lot of storage up here. We have a lot of storage over here. And we have an opportunity, should we decide to exercise it. Speaking of exercise, we did have a request to take a look at the beavers doing their exercises, so I figured we'd put that up on the screen while I'm talking a little bit. I love how they all, well, almost all of them, have the channel logo on their tails. And we got a farmer beaver with his hat on still. That's pretty fun. But we have to decide if we're going to put the rooftop things on there, the terraces, or the actual roofing themselves that will give us that aesthetic bonus. I think if we actually are going to have 500 beavers, we're going to need a lot of those terraces. We need more campfires too. So we're going to need to find a place to put those. But we've got options for stuff, because remember, we only have 185 beavers who are currently working, and we have 224 who are not. And the eventual goal of this series is for there would be so many beavers who aren't working that the average well-being is basically as high as it would be if nobody was working. And for all intents and purposes, this is basically already there. You can take a look at this real quick. The broken teeth and the injury, that's really the only thing that's detracting right now. Nutrition, well, we don't have everything available because they keep eating everything. Imagine that, the beavers eat stuff. But for the most part, everything is looking fine. We just can't keep enough corn rations, kohlrabis, and fermented cassavas to really max everything out. Like, these, of course, aren't 100% done. They're not all the way to the right, but that's fine. Frog statues, actually, I didn't think the need was going to be completely met, but it was, and that's a beautiful plus for rooftop terraces. We could obviously use some more, and the campfires more than that, but everything else, looking really, really good. The fun bit, I'm pretty sure, is just going to be related to the capacity of what we have in place. We do only have the 2 exercise plazas. Swimming pools, we'll check again, but I'm pretty sure I put all those in place. Detailers, we could easily add 2 more. That hopefully would be able to take care of everything else. Mud baths, we might be in a scenario where we don't have enough dirt just stored everywhere. But motivatoriums, I can't really put any more of those in, so I'm hoping it's going to be adequate. Wind tunnels, the same thing. We did have those paused at the end of our last drought because we didn't have enough power to run them. But everything is looking really, really good. We're not too far away from being, I guess, quote-unquote, done, finished with this playthrough. So we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled. And, of course, supply all of our materials. We do have almost all of the metal blocks needed. Treated planks are a different story, but we are finally rebounding on those. Gears, again, completely not a problem at all. We have 1,400 of those things, so that's totally fine. I would say everything is looking really good. So, in terms of finding places to put rooftop terraces, we could, again, put them on top of here. I don't really think I like how that would look. But we also, on the backside here, I guess we can continue peeling this back a little bit. We have 8 mud baths, so that should be enough. But you might notice none of these have any dirt in them. So if we prioritize all of them by haulers, that should get refilled, and we should see that amount of the well-being continue to go up. We just haven't really been in a position where we've had enough dirt. So here's what we can do to help fix that. First of all, put a couple detailers in, as one does. I really do need to come up with some other designs for this. I don't really feel like using these things, but that's something we can work on at some other point in time. We need to put in piles. Oh, we actually do have spot for that. Really? Okay, well, that's good. Good to know. Let's take another look at the path structure here, because I do want them to be able to pretty easily get to the dirt. So if I put one there and one there, that hopefully will help. And of course, I guess we could just go ahead and make this nice and symmetrical. Never hurts to have dirt storage. See, there you go. All we had to do was just check and see that everything was prioritized. And of course, now the number is lower because that's always how it works. We should see the mud bath ones go up. Of course, during the day, the 185 beavers who are actually working aren't going to be able to have anything going on over here, but that should be not too big of a deal. And hey, now we got the 4 detailers at work, so on and so forth. These are back in action. And, importantly, we have our vertical flywheels slowly recharging. I think we might need to build another set of these. I don't know that we will actually be able to, depending on how we want to run this. I mean, this should be enough. We do have some machines we can pause. Like we got 1,400 gears. We don't need to have so many of these running, even though they're not actually consuming anything. So I guess that's something we probably never had to worry about anyway. These are all marked for cutting, right? Okay, well, these don't need to be. Not that that's really going to make that much of a difference, but we might actually be okay on wood. We might not need to put anything else over here, which actually would end up being some pretty good news for us, because then we could put a whole bunch of campfires and fun stuff in. If we really had to, we could probably put in a couple motivatoriums as well and just have this shaft come down again like we'd done before. We've got a pretty good access pathway. Most places on the map. What's on the ground here? Planks we don't have storage for? Okay, I'm just not going to worry about... We'll just get rid of these. I have so many planks already. So you can see the food slowly starting to recover. The issue with the canola seeds, I guess, was a whole lot worse than we had previously thought, since I have essentially doubled or tripled the amount we were already growing, and it's still sucking up every morsel of it that it can find to make all of these rations. So, I mean, again, we did just plant these, and hopefully it'll even out at some point. But yeah, that's a lot of stuff, folks. So we do have the ability to come in here and put in 2 more. Well, we could do more than 2 if we really wanted to, but put in double platforms along all of this mess. Then I guess I could technically do rooftop terraces over here if I really, really felt like it, but I don't think I want to mess with that too much. So I'm just, you know, I'm just going to do just those 2. That's fine, because we have so many extra beavers, there's no reason not to have all hands on deck when it comes to farming. Seeing the trend with our canola oil just continuing to not be enough, I'm going to plant another 2 rows of canola. So we will have, rather, the extra farmers on hand. And it seems like cassavas and the soybeans are still not going to be enough. Even though we did just plant some that haven't grown yet and won't for a couple more days. Well, the cassava's halfway done, but the soybeans are only at about a third of the way there. So now we've got... You see how quickly they came in and took care of that? They really, really want that canola oil. So we'll see what happens. Again, I really, really want every single type of food available to be completely full, and the finished storage, and ideally the component storage as well. But that's a lot of stuff, and we have, I hope, another 60, 70 beavers worth of food that we're going to be storing when we get to almost 500. So back to what I was originally going to say here. I think I want to put in some rooftop terraces hanging off the backside of this big, ugly, blissful beaver apartment block. So just remember, 1, 2, it's not going to let me do it. 3, I can fit 4 completely side by side by side by side if I have them all facing into this path. If we kind of go this way a little bit, then depending on how I'm able to do my my overhangs, let's just look at this. So that would be 1, that would be 2, that would be 3, and then this would be 4. It wouldn't be enough to have 5, so we'll just do the rest of that. So what that's going to do, see if I can get it so that there's not a whole lot of beavers on this. It seems almost impossible to have it completely empty. So it's like trying to play the, you know, the game of the arcade where it's got like the lights going around the circle and you have to stop it in the prize zone to get your tickets or whatever. Come on. Hey, there we go. So, demolish only this bit. Only this bit. Get that out of there. And then I kind of want to see... Obviously, we have the medical beds here. I am very interested in seeing if I can put on top of the oil press... I love that sound. On top of the oil press. Oh, yes. You know what that means, folks. Oh, yeah, when I make that noise, you know it's bad news. Bad news. Alright, so that's going to be 1, that's going to be 2, that's going to be 3. We do have the medical beds here, which I'm not going to be removing because we probably are going to need those for pretty much ever. But we have the space right here to put in some more rooftop terraces. Right outside their front doors. And on top of that, which I don't think we're going to need a path for, but I'll put one there anyway. And then here... Oh, what a shame. Well, those are going to be gone anyway. That's fine. Get this out of the way there. And I remember in a video a long time ago, somebody said, please put paths on top of the ladders. So, okay, we'll do that. That's fine. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. So that, I mean, it's not perfectly symmetrical, but we did add 7 once those get constructed. So that's great to see. Always love to see it. In fact, I'm going to, for the sake of everyone's personal sanity, not having to see those things down on the ground, I'm going to pause production of the planks so that those eventually get picked up. Let them build that, and then we can move on to what's next. So peeling this back again, it's time to talk about this row house. So it's really funny because until this past video, most people talking about this row house had said that there's no reason for it to be there and they're not getting the benefits from all of the decorations and everything and it should be removed. But then I mentioned something about it in the video. And then a bunch of you came out of the woodwork and said, no, I like it. It's weird. Keep it there. So now I don't know what I want to do. But what I can do is I can show you the beavers living there. Mike O'Donnell here. 70 well-being. That's 8 above the average. And everybody else here is hovering pretty close to the average with the exception of Christopher Sherman, who's at 55. So, you know, I don't really think it matters. I really don't. I think this is fine. I know that's not the answer at least a couple of you want to hear. But, I mean, if we can have somebody living in here with an average of 70, which is now a full 10 above, what the overall average is 11 above now. I think that's pretty good proof that it really doesn't matter. So, of course I say that, and then we have 2 beavers that drop down to 49. So let's take a look. Christopher Sherman, what's going on, dude? What do you not have? Campfire, rooftop, terrace needs. Okay, well that's because you're working at the hauling post. You're a very busy beaver. And you've had no time for fun. Well, that just won't do. That just won't do. We're going to have to lower the working hours, which, honestly, we can easily do. Because you haven't had any time for fun. You're 104. And that's too old. You got to retire, dude. All right, so I'll tell you what. Let's go down to 14 hours. See if that bumps our numbers up. It probably should. Actually, I have a better idea. We'll do it in a little bit. But you remember a bunch of episodes back where somebody left a comment asking for the beavers to have a weekend where nobody works to see how high we can get all of our well-being? Well, we're going to do it. But not right now because we have all these paths that are completely disconnected. We're going to get that taken care of. But I am very interested to see just how high that goes once everything is all taken care of. We do also currently not have 4 workers in the district center, so that was definitely my fault. We only have 12 builder beavers because we have everything else well, not built out anymore. But we're in the process of hopefully fixing some of that. I know we have some need for additional water pumping over here. These aren't filling up as quickly as I'd like them to. Even though the supply is like full 9,000-ish HP greater than the demand. We're sucking up too much power for it to actually fill all these back up. Like, and again, keep in mind, we've got 8 of these. That's a lot of power. So I kind of feel like we need to put a pause on some of these big power draining things. They're still working on getting this built, so it's day 8. At any point in time, we could get that 3-day warning that we could have a drought. If it's a bad tide, it doesn't matter. This is going to keep going. But if we have a drought in the last 9 days, and we only have this much stored in each one of these flywheels, we're not going to make it. So that raises interesting questions about how we're going to handle all the different power production needs here. Because I thought we were doing really well with what we'd built, but I guess we've kind of outpaced it. So, I'm going to watch these beavers fall out of the sky, because that's always funny. Just turn these things up. That's going to save us a whole bunch of power production. Or demand, rather. And now look at that overnight demand of only 1,200. Because we've got, I don't know, something still running. Probably the motivatoriums. But I really, really need this to get filled up a whole lot more. So, you know the drill. We just let stuff be what it's going to be. I think at this point, it's going to be pretty unavoidable for us to not do another time lapse. So, I hope that's the correct way of saying that. I don't know. At one point, I was good at this, but you know how things go. We're going to do a time lapse. We're going to try to build the rest of these rooftop terraces, and I'm going to expand also the water production. Hopefully, we don't have a drought and don't get caught with not enough power. But we're going to get all that taken care of, advance what we can advance, and then when we come out of the drought, there we go, out of the time lapse, we will try our beaver weekend idea, assuming all of this is taken care of. And then we'll see where we go from there. Probably not going to be another super long episode today, but we're going to get stuff done, and we're going to make as much progress as we can reasonably make. All that being said, see you on the other side. Alright, here we are in cycle 55, day 1 at the conclusion of our drought. And here's what we learned. The food situation, as I'm sure at least one or two of you have left a comment about at this point in the video, is looking a little bit precarious. And part of that is due to the fact that we have 485 beavers, which means we currently also have 5 homeless beavers. So that's another problem we've got to solve. But the important thing about the food situation is, one, we're not out of canola oil or the canola itself. So that's good. But what we are running out of, usual suspects, we've got raw cassava is very low. The corn has gotten a little bit better since we planted some more of that. And now mushrooms are dropping. I didn't think that was going to be a problem we would have to solve. So remember how we have this set up here? We've got a whole stack of the algae ones, and we got a whole stack of the mushrooms. Our raw algae doesn't seem to be any worse for wear, but the mushrooms are struggling a little bit. And the mushrooms take 192 hours to make. The algae takes 288 hours, so it's a little surprising to me until you think about how everything works here. You get 45 mushrooms in 192 hours versus 288 hours gets you 70 algae. So it's actually more efficient at producing. Plus, when they go to get processed, one algae turns into 6 rations. You go in here, I think it's... okay, well, I totally missed on which one of these it actually was. Mushrooms turn into 4 each. They don't have to have the canola oil or anything. But the problem I think we're running into is there's so little of each specific type of food that it's really throwing the balance off. So really the only way to solve this is just to continue planting stuff until I guess we have all that we need to have. But another interesting thing that's happening is our blueberries are looking a little worse for wear. So what I think we're going to have to do, I was hoping to avoid this, but I think we're going to have to cut off this path here and take a look at how much coffee beans we've got. I think I can spare a row, not buildings, a row of coffee beans. Take away 5, plant 5 more, or plant 4 more, rather. Should be fine. Then plant these all as blueberries here, just to give a little bit of a fighting chance to our blueberries. And also plant another 5 right there, give them a little bit more of a boost. We have an issue up here with our food factory production. These are all prioritized by haulers, and I don't think it can really keep up. So we're going to have to add some more of these factories in. I do have enough space here. 1, 2, 3 of these will fit perfectly, but that's going to mean that our explosives factory is going to have to get relocated. Centrifuge is going to get... going to have to get relocated. There we go. And then the coffee also. But I don't really have any more room. We've kind of used all of it. So I'm not really sure what to do about that. I mean, the explosives aren't that big of a deal. Every 3 hours, assuming this is actually working, every 3 hours we get 1 explosive. Currently, 14-hour days, we'll get 4 explosives. But every day, we're going to use 7. So we do still need the 2 of those. And we have the exact correct amount of these smelters to handle all of this stuff. So I think we're in a spot now where it's probably going to be pretty important for us to build a little bit more industrial capacity. And I guess the only way really to do that is going to be to expand this mess here. And I think, again, the best way to do that is going to be to bring in these guys, right, like so. This is where this is going to get a little interesting. I think I put my 4x1s here, and then so we can have a pathway 5x1s. All I've got to do is take this explosives factory, flip it, and now I've got a spot to put a power shaft, and then right next to him, I'll be able to put this other explosives factory in place, and then I can just expand this way as much as I feel is necessary. So, make this nice and simple setup with the 5x1s here and here, so now I've got space for 2 more. That's going to solve the problem of getting this guy out of here. Then I'm just going to have to move the centrifuge, which honestly, if we're going to be using the extract and the bad water at the same time, probably should be somewhere closer to the middle of this, but I don't have a good way to run power. So that's another thing that could be a good candidate to put over here. Even though this doesn't perfectly match up, we do have the ability to kind of wiggle things around a little bit, depending on how we want to put stuff in, and just make the best use of this space we possibly can. It's not really close in terms of where our bad water or extract are stored, but honestly, at this point, I really don't think it matters. It really doesn't. So, hopefully we can get that figured out. This is still at 45%, which is an improvement, but like I said, it takes a really, really long time to get all this stuff brought in, and that's not going to be a quick process. So we have the 2 explosives factories here. I'm going to move, like I said, centrifuge over here. I think honestly, we can survive with just the 1, because that hasn't been lagging that far behind, and we're only using it for the breeding pods, and actually, what else does it go into? I don't remember. I legitimately don't remember. That's so weird. Well, it's not weird that I don't remember, but it feels weird. I guess the dynamite that we're not blowing up either. Alright, so that's going to go away. Coffee, I'm not really going to shed any tears over. That'll get figured out. Not going to be hard. We just have all sorts of garbage here to pick up. So we'll let them take care of that. Oh, you know what? Go ahead and put this path in place. I don't think we're going to be building anything on top of this. But yeah, putting in another set of these food factories can only serve to help us as we continue working on trying to get everything else situated. Yeah, the amount of beavers just tends to go up and down a little bit, so I don't think we're going to really need to worry about building any more housing, but we basically reached the design capacity of beavers anyway, so I don't feel like it's a problem. We'll just let that be what it's going to be, and like I said, put in, I guess for right now, centrifuge there. I can just have a small tank for add water, small tank for extract. That, of course, set there, and that set there. Bring this across here, and then we can continue expanding this if we feel so inclined. But I feel like that's a pretty clean way to put that in, and also nice to integrate that ladder right there as well. Of course, this connects nicely across here. And that should be good. So let's put this in triple speed. See if they're going to get any of this stuff cleaned up. I honestly have half a mind to just say, you know what? Figure it out. Get it all somewhere else, and we'll move on with our lives. Hopefully I don't delete anything important. I don't trust the click and drag tool to do this right. So, like I said, food factory, and then the last one will go here. This one is corn, this one's eggplant, this one's algae, so we'll just do the same thing. Corn, eggplant, and then algae again. Just move this way, which means that can go away, that can go away, that can go away, that can go away. With all my luck, this pile will invariably end up in this square because that is the least logical place for it to go. Wow! Why are you like this? Why are you like this game? I'm sure there's some sort of programming explanation that I have too smooth-brained to understand. But, so that will take care of all that stuff. We do still have our large tank of canola oil, which is hopefully going to still be adequate. Because right now, look at our food. We're running on fumes, folks. We got 1,200 mushroom. That's pretty much it. That's it. That is it. So we've got our work cut out for us. We definitely need to be growing some more stuff. Just not entirely sure what it needs to be. Because it seems like the capacity for our food processing is what's the biggest problem here. Aside from, you know, the stuff that we're growing, that still isn't quite enough for 500 beavers. I mean, I guess based on what we're looking at, we need more of everything, but that's going to be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow with how this is all set up. So cassava, soybean, and corn, probably instant no-brainers to add more of. So we'll get those planted. Obviously, they're going to take some time to grow. But supply-wise, I think it's going to end up being fine. We just, you know, always gotta wait. So everybody's favorite thing, once again, the episode ending time-lapse as we do our acknowledgements. It's ended up working out pretty nice to do 2 time-lapses in these episodes as we are getting closer and closer to the end of the series. But like I always say, can't do it without you guys. So I really appreciate you being here, Beard Boosters, of course, for your continuing support of everything we do here on the channel, making it possible to do this completely free of unwanted sponsorships is very important to me. And your support directly makes that possible, so I don't even have to worry about thinking about it. Really, really appreciate it, as always. Before we end, I did want to let you guys know that today, as of recording this video, I guess yesterday, as of most of you seeing it, I did put out a channel survey. I do this once a year. General survey. I have other surveys for like streaming content and stuff throughout the year, but this is basically our channel's equivalent of a census. Lets me know a little bit about you, about where you live, in terms of time zones, so I can try to plan live streams and maybe adjust video publishing times depending on when people are going to be most active on the platform. Lets me know what you guys think about how things are doing on the channel, like what games you're watching, how many videos you're watching, just different opinions about stuff that make it possible for me to understand things that aren't necessarily obvious just by looking at analytics. Helps contextualize stuff, and it's neat to look at statistics for stuff. I always publish the findings as soon as the survey's over, which for this one, it's going to end on December 31st. So early in the new year, I'll put out a video where we go over the results together. So if you would please fill that out. It's got a decent number of questions on it, but it really shouldn't take you a terribly long time to do. And it really, really is going to help shape the future of the channel. Very much appreciate your consideration in that regard. Hey, thanks, email client sound. But by the time I'm done yapping here, all this stuff's going to be finished building, and hopefully it all works out just fine. You'll see as stuff gets built behind this in the time-lapse, but have a fantastic rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.